Okay, cool. Hi everyone. Thanks very much for joining. Just the first kind of half hour or so, we're just going to kind of do a Nexus for beginners. Just kind of give some background on how it works and what you can do within the system. So I'll just give you a quick overview, and then we can open it up for questions and jump in if you have something as we go along. That's fine. We are recording, so just be wary of that, I guess. Then once we've done the beginner section, we'll just jump into kind of the community call as a whole, and I can give you an update on the hack and then other more interesting stuff such as roadmap and those types of things. So I'll just start with the intro for beginner stuff. So I think that the important point here is once we what we're really trying to do here is share risk as a community, and what we've done with Nexus is actually create a system that kind of allows us to do something that humans have been doing for a very long time. So we're building a kind of foundation of a new technology to kind of bring us all together and be able to share risk together in a new way, essentially just using technology to make it a whole lot more efficient. And I guess throughout history, there's a whole bunch of cases where you've got events and stories and economies growing as a result of communities coming together to share risk and increase resilience as a group together, and then economic activity spurs from that. And so we really think there are strong parallels with the Ethereum ecosystem and the crypto ecosystem more broadly. So that's really what we're trying to do. I'll quickly go through some of the core mechanics. This is a diagram, just kind of gives you an overview of what you can do within the system. The way I generally describe Nexus is it's a DAO, and it's got one pool of capital, and the members decide as a group how to use that capital. And overlaying the pool of funds, which is predominantly Ether, there is the Nexus mutual token, NXM, and that incentivizes the members of the mutual to do certain functions. So it makes sure that they do the right things and focus on the long term and protect each other. And so if we manage to get all of these mechanics right, then we develop a sustainable risk sharing DAO that can be used for risks within the crypto community, but hopefully more broadly outside the crypto community in the longer term. So I'll kind of jump into a few mechanics, but in a bit. But the key kind of things you can do with Nexus are, firstly, the first thing you have to do is become a member of the mutual, regardless of what you want to do, and then you get to choose between which roles you want to take, and you can do all or none of these. But the first one, and kind of probably the most obvious one, if you're a member and you want to protect your funds in a protocol or in custody against risk, and so you buy cover, and so you can simply contribute either Ether or DAI, and you get some cover, and so you choose the amount of cover that you want there, and so you can obviously you get a claim payout if there's a hack or the custody provider fails. So that's kind of like the simple kind of end user use case, and then there are a bunch of other use cases. Really kind of two major ones, and then we have governance kind of sitting over the top of it. The first one is being a risk assessor, which is basically like an underwriter. Once you have purchased NXM tokens, so you can contribute Ether to the shared capital pool and you get NXM tokens in return. Once you have those NXM tokens, then you can decide to stake as a risk assessor, and you kind of do the underwriting or pricing on that side. I'll get into it in a little bit more detail in a minute. The other option is if you want to be a claims assessor. So once again, you have to purchase some NXM tokens to start with, and then you can earn more NXM tokens for assessing claims. And then overlaying all of this, and you can do it at the same time, is getting involved in governance, so voting on protocol upgrades, etc. So that kind of sits there as well. And you can do any or all of those things. So just quickly on the token. So I guess one of the things you can do is just become a member and hold the token. And it represents the hold on, I'm just going to zoom out a touch. It represents membership rights in the mutual. And so all the mutual members own the mutual together. And I guess interestingly, it actually has there's a legal bit in the minute, so I'll get onto that in a second. So the token runs on a bonding curve. It's a mathematical formula which determines the price of the NXM token, and it has a relationship between how much assets the mutual has and how much business the mutual's written. And the NXM token can only be bought or sold within the Nexus mutual application, because only members of the mutual can hold the NXM tokens. And so that's one of the reasons why wrapped NXM has been developed by the community, and that's a one-to-one backed token that gets generated by wrapping genuine NXM, and it's fully tradable but can't be used within the Nexus mutual platform at all for like staking, risk assessment, or buying cover or anything like that. So if you just want to be a token holder, then you can hold wrapped NXM. But if you actually want to use the system, then you would need to become a member first and then unwrap your wrapped NXM if you have that, and then you can start using it within the system. I guess one of the other more interesting aspects is we have a legal framework around the mutual, the DAO. So we call it a digital cooperative. It's basically a DAO with a legal wrapper around it, and it operates as what's called a discretionary mutual in the UK, and that's a very kind of niche insurance-y type term. And so Nexus actually complies with relevant laws and regulations in the countries from which it accepts members. So we do have a whitelist, and some countries can't become members right now. And so your tokens actually have legal rights as well as the digital rights of the smart contracts. So that's kind of, I guess, an interesting aspect that that's probably a bit different to some of the other DeFi protocols. So something to bear in mind, but you can look us up on Companies House in the UK, and you can see all the details there if you wish. Then, hold on, I'm just trying to work out where we go next. So, hold on, so the things members can do, I kind of went through this before. You can buy smart contract cover, you can buy custody cover, like just as a simple end user. You can contribute funds to the mutual and hold the tokens. You can stake on risks that you think is are secure or are good risks, and then you can earn additional rewards. That's the risk assessment. You can put forward governance proposals, you can vote on governance proposals, and everyone's kind of sharing risk together. And so the things that the members are specifically responsible for are like kind of the governance, voting, and putting forward proposals, capital provision. All of the capital of the mutual comes from the members, and you can do that after you've paid your small membership fee. And then, as I've kind of described before, the risk assessment, the claims assessment is done on a kind of decentralized basis. So there's no kind of centralized authority kind of deciding on any of those. What the Nexus Mutual team usually does, and so we're kind of employed by our foundation, and we tend to kind of guide the we do most of the development, but we also guide the discussions more heavily on the more technical aspects, such as the pricing, investments, and what we want to use the pool of funds that we have to invest into, and product development in terms of risks and which products we should go to next. So that's generally where the team focuses on, mainly because it's a bit more complicated usually, but we want to get more and more people from the community involved in that over time. So stepping back a little bit to kind of like rewards and what you can get for participating in the system. So when we have a governance vote, there's 100 NXM tokens that are split between the number of people, number of members that vote. So if 50 people vote on the particular proposal, then everyone gets 2 NXM each. So, and it's one person. It's done on a per person basis rather than on a token weighted basis. So there's a small reward there for participating. That can sometimes be quite reasonable, but the main idea is to make sure that you don't just incur gas fees, and you can get a little bit extra out of that. Then, so that's relatively small in the context of the overall rewards. Probably the biggest rewards are for the staking or the risk assessment. So whenever anyone purchases cover, 50% of the cover price is generated in NXM and distributed to the stakers who have staked on that particular risk. So if someone buys cover on Balancer, then the people who have staked on Balancer proportionally get the cover price, 50% of the cover price in NXM terms. And the rewards are distributed Monday mornings, UDC, every week. On the claims assessment side, this is more of a paying for work. So I guess it's smaller in magnitude versus the staking, and there's very little chance of downside. Only if you've kind of actively attacked the system. But there's rewards there for when the claims come in to kind of pay for people's time and the work they're contributing to the system. And if you vote against the consensus outcome, then the stake that you've locked for claims assessment gets extended for 7 days. So that's kind of the rewards at a very, very high level. I guess that it's probably quite important to stress that the staking or the risk assessment is the highest one in terms of rewards, but it also has material downsides. So you can lose your NXM if you stake on something that subsequently has a claim. And so it's definitely a more advanced function within the mutual. So you should be aware of what you're doing there and what risks you're backing. The one of the key reasons there is that we want people to stake where they genuinely believe that the risk is lower, and so the more people that stake, the lower the price of cover. And so we're kind of using prediction market techniques, I guess, like wisdom of the crowd techniques, to determine what the price of cover is. So yeah, that's kind of a very quick whiz through. I'm just making sure that I don't forget anything. Kind of went through the minting and burning. And this is kind of going through the staking as well. So we will, hold on, just see if I can make this smaller. We'll make all of this information available on our website, and we'll have hopefully have a YouTube off of this as well. So you can pick up the information afterwards. But we've got some quite comprehensive docs pages linked from the website to get into the details if you'd like to do that. And also on Discord, we're hopefully pretty responsive there. So yeah, I might just stop there. I've kind of gone through things, I guess, quite quickly perhaps. But if there's anyone with particular questions, then please do jump in. Very good. Everyone's fully understanding and knows all the ins and outs. That's great. So cool. We've got about 10 minutes until the rest of the community call. I don't know, Kaylee, is there anything else that do you think we should go through before the community call starts? Okay, cool. Yeah, so put your questions in the if you want to raise anything in particular on the community call, get them in now. It's probably a good time, that way we can answer them as best we can. Cool. I think just one thing. Just checking something. Sorry. I have too many things open at once, and now I'm losing stuff. All right. Very good. So I think it's worth noting, just on the staking, that we're considering as a team how and in discussion with the community as well, obviously, about how we kind of enhance this in the future and potentially make some changes. So that's not necessarily an imminent thing. We're kind of in the and we can share more about this in the community call. But we're kind of in the design stage now of a new staking system, and so once we've kind of confirmed a few bits and pieces, we'll open that up to get comments from the community and make sure we're headed in the right direction on that side of things. I think in general, the types of things we're looking to do is make it more fluid, more kind of crypto native, allow stuff like delegation. So if you don't have the expertise, but you're quite happy to stake a bit more passively, then you should be able to do that. And also kind of increasing the rewards and a bit, and also looking to potentially reduce the risk as well. So I'm trying to capture quite a few things in one relatively large upgrade. So we'll share more on that one as we progress. Cool. Well, yeah, jump in with questions. We've got 5 minutes now. I could probably just start with a bit of an update on the hack, because I'm sure everyone wants to know. Just going to Kaylee, should I stop the recording on the Loom stuff? Okay. Okay, fine. So yeah, so a bit of an update on the hack. I think, firstly, for those of you that don't know, I was personally phished. I guess is the best description of what actually happened, for 370,000 NXM, about $8 million worth on Monday. So just a quick background on what happened and what we know so far. My PC was compromised at some point. We're still kind of running diagnostics on the PC to work out exactly what happened. And my MetaMask extension was essentially changed and replaced with, I guess, a malicious version. And what that meant was that not only would any of the assets held in my MetaMask accounts that the attacker would then has control over, which was basically nothing really. The thing that really the really tricky part about this was that when I went to do a transaction on Monday morning, which was a relatively simple transaction of claiming some shield mining rewards on Nexus, what happened was that I was presented with a spoofed transaction on MetaMask. So the MetaMask pop-up came up and indicated that I was doing what I thought I was doing. And then I hit confirm, and then obviously it pushes the confirmation to the hardware wallet. And I clicked through and just went yes, approve, without checking all the details. So that's personally on me for not checking the absolute details. That it is quite hard to check all of the interactions when you're interacting with a smart contract, because it doesn't actually show you much meaningful information on the ledger that's easily human readable. But nevertheless, it's always good to check these things. And effectively, instead of approving the shield mining reward claim, I sent the large number of tokens to the attacker. And so that's basically what happened. The private keys are safe. They just tricked me into sending one transaction that I obviously didn't intend to do. And so that's kind of where things, what happened. The attacker or the hacker has started cashing out, and the funds flow has kind of gone all over the place. In terms of where we're at and what we're doing from here, police and law enforcement agencies have been notified. They're conducting investigations. I guess we'll see what comes of that. Our team, along with some other security professionals, are analysing my PC to kind of we kind of know what happened, but we don't. We still want to get some extra details onto exactly how it happened and more information, and then we'll share that information with the with police and law enforcement, but also with the wider community, because I think it's important that we can, I guess, learn from this and develop some solutions that are helpful here and can prevent these types of attacks. So in terms of learnings and like, could it happen to you? I think it can happen to anyone that that's interacting with DeFi. Like hardware wallets are great and they help, but you can still be tricked here quite convincingly, I guess. So I think it's you have to be a bit more technical to understand this stuff and be able to kind of make sure you know what you're approving and I think that's important. And so we need some other technical solutions. But I guess I was specifically targeted, though we do know that some other members of Nexus have been impacted as well, and it seems like it's a similar type of attack. So we're kind of pooling our resources together, and we'll hopefully share with the community as much detail as possible, also on a very technical level, so that other people can, I guess, build some solutions and also investigate stuff as well. So yeah, that's basically where it is. I personally don't believe we should be forking or doing anything like that to try and regain funds. I don't actually know. I think technically we might be able to do it, but I think it creates a massive mess, and I'm not quite sure that would be possible. So, yeah, I think that's where I stand on that one. So, yeah, obviously not a pleasant experience, but it is what it is, and we're kind of moving on, and we've been quite diverted this week, obviously, with all that stuff, but we're getting back onto more normal stuff now, and especially after the kind of Christmas break, where I guess we'll be a bit quieter, but we'll get cracking onto all the new stuff in the new year. So yeah, not fun, but that's kind of what's been happening. Cool. All right. Might just give it 1 or 2 minutes in case people jump on at the hour mark. Apparently there's some questions somewhere and I'm trying to find them. Yeah, and I think there's a question, what would you define as effect or impact of the hack? So, I mean, I think that the impacts are obviously that I have a lot less NXM than I did before. In terms of like the impact on the project, obviously the attackers started selling out, and so that's caused a greater price spread between wrapped NXM and NXM. So that might, who knows how that's going to play out in terms of the market. It might continue for a while. I think they've still got some wrapped NXM. Thank you. Hold on.